Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Line up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star.
Didn't even get to go.
Harrison on debut for Leeds United. Harrison. Oh, Jack Harrison! That preserves Leeds United's Premier League status.
I said I'm moving too far. Get it wrong.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Ollie Ward channel. I'm doing my first live in a long time. Not a live stream, not live streaming the game. But I want to talk why Leeds United won't get relegated. I know it's a bit crazy, and I know it's a bit like what you want about Ollie. But either way, we're joined by two absolute legends of the game. It's Jer from Leeds United, The View, and it's Max from Leeds Lately. How are you both doing? I haven't unmuted you.
There we go. Hello.
Oh, what is going? Why is it just you?
You got to change your layup there.
There we are. There we are.
Good.
Can I-
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, okay,
Ollie,
cool.
How are you, mate?
Yes, I'm good. As you can see, I'm new to this. As you can see, I am new to this. I think I've still got Max's. I do. Okay, Max, how are you, my friend? What? I cannot hear Max.
No,
Is
I
that
can't
just
hear
me?
myself. Yeah. No, I can't hear myself. No.
No, we can't hear you, Max. Oh, I tell you what, he's done this on purpose. I tell you, he's trying to ruin my first lot. What are you
Is
playing
the-
at, mate?
Is the mute button at the bottom pressed?
Yeah. Wait, try speak now,
There
Max.
you go. Should work.
There
now.
you are.
There we are. Okay, my bad.
I think
Right,
you
how are
accidentally
you?
Muted and unmuted me. I'm all
Okay.
right, and I think Legends is going a bit far, but
Yeah,
well, actually, Jer
yeah.
can have Legend status.
No, I don't want
yeah.
that for me.
No, I don't want to, mate.
So, boys, we're basically tonight going to be talking why Leeds United won't get relegated. I know you both might think we're already down. I don't know how you're thinking, but before we do get into this, as always, guys, be sure to smash that like button. Let's go for, if you want to see more of this, let's go for 150 likes. Bit bold of me, but let's go for it. Also, subscribe if you are new and subscribe to these guys on screen. Bit rude of Jer to turn up after he's overtaken me in subscribers. Bit rude of him. Wasn't, you know, he's, you have. But yes, let's not talk about it, yeah. And also shout out and subscribe to Leeds Lately Max. He is the James Alcott of the Leeds United fan base. We've already spoke about this before. He knows his facts. He does. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start with just a simple. I want to talk to you first, Jer, about previous games against Man City and Newcastle. Obviously, we lost 2-1 to Manchester City and we drew 2-2 with Newcastle. Some positives. What positives could you take out of them two performances?
We didn't get trashed is the first one for both games, considering what went on before that with the Palace game, the Liverpool game, and even Arsenal and Bournemouth. The fact that we didn't concede the goals. I know people will say against Manchester City that they had a lot of chances and they missed them, but that's their job, is to go and take them. And they didn't take them, and we did. So, I mean, there was a huge amount of positives, especially the second half against Manchester City. I thought there was a huge amount of positives. The Newcastle game was an eye-opener for me because I think it said it on Joe's channel last night. I wasn't a fan of the Sam Allardyce experiment. I didn't want to see it. I wasn't sure how I felt about him getting the job. I understood it was a free swing and a why not kind of thing, and I was okay with that. But I didn't want his style of football. And then when I watched the game on Saturday, I didn't see that kind of football. I saw Leeds trying to play it on the deck when they could and went long when they had to. You know, it was very much I think somebody else described them as being very pragmatic. You know, you just do what you have to do to win the game, and that's okay. So I was really happy with that from Newcastle. I thought we played good football at times. There was definitely an awful lot more structure to what we were doing. When we didn't have the ball, you could see the shape was there. Outside of two penalties against Newcastle, they have very little from open play that challenges. Two very comfortable saves for Robles. So that's a massive, massive positive for me, considering how many chances we normally give up in every single game from open play against Newcastle, third place in the table, chasing Champions League football. And I thought we went toe to toe, and I thought we had as much of the game, if not better chances to win the game than they did.
Yeah, I think you're bang on. I didn't think we were going to get anything from that Newcastle game at all. Max, I'll come to you as well. Do you think the game against Newcastle was a bit like? Do you think we could have taken more?
Definitely. I think that it's a completely different game if we go 2-0 up. And I think Sam Allardyce said as much in his post match, is that if we'd have put that second one in the back of the net, it's such a harder task for them to come back. But we've been quite weak mentally this season, and it's been one of our biggest issues. And I could just tell that when we missed that penalty, we were going to concede. I didn't think it was going to be that soon after, but I did think they were going to go up the other end of the pitch and score at some point, because our heads go a little bit when stuff like that happens. And to concede 2 penalties, it's like, come on, you're in a relegation battle and you're giving away 2 penalties in one game. Like, you're killing us. And obviously missing one as well. It's the sort of stuff that relegates teams doing that. But there are positives to take, which is the good thing about Newcastle. We've come out of Man City and Newcastle with a -1 goal difference from 2 games against first and third. You take that, don't you? I mean, you look at Newcastle and you think, because of the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years of them, you think, well, really, we should be getting more against Newcastle at home. But they're a different animal this season, and it's not fair to say that they're the same as what they were last time we played them at home. So yeah, it's a positive to take that we only came out of that with a -1 goal difference, and we scored a couple of goals. We've scored 3 goals against those 2 teams, so it shows that we've got a bit of strike power left in us. We have conceded 4 goals in those 2 games, which is still a fairly leaky defence, but it's not as if we conceded 4 goals in one game plus another one like we did against Palace. Against teams where you shouldn't be conceding that many. So I think it still can be spun positively.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I was speaking to someone about this. I can't even remember. It could have just been actually someone at work, a fellow Leeds fan at work. We were talking about that if these were results a few months, like if this was a result in February where we just lost 2-1 to Man City and drew 2-2 with Newcastle, you're taking it positively. I think because we're so, we need these wins now. We need points. I think people still take the negatives out of it. But like you said, a 2-1 loss against Man City, who top of the league, and then you get third against Newcastle and get a point against them. It's looking positive, and we'll come on to the West Ham game in a minute. I quickly want to touch on, I'll come to you, Jer, the whole Bamford situation. Obviously, we're not going to talk about what has happened on social media and things like that, because I for one, I think, I would say it was just so, we embarrass our fan base. We embarrass the club at times when our fans do stuff like that. And I just want to talk about, was it right to put Bamford on that penalty? I mean, if he scores it, we love him, but everything that went on the week before and the fact that, he just hasn't been good at all. Joe, would you have put him on that penalty?
No. No. And there wasn't one person in the stadium, I think, that thought that he was going to score that penalty. I think everyone looked at his body language, everything about the leading up to it suggested he's in his own head now. Like, as soon as he picked the ball up, Rodrigo went over, had a bit of a chat with him. Obviously, maybe he's saying, I'll take the pen or whatever. And Bamford's like, no, I'm the spot kick taker, so I'll take it. But just the little walk that he went on with the ball under his arm, I just looked at it and went, nothing about this looks confident. He's in his own head now. He's overanalyzing this, and it's taken it was too long between when the spot kick was given to when he finally actually took the kick as well. And what he needed there, I think, in that moment was what other teams have been doing. Somebody else picks the ball up and takes all the heat and all the attention. And then just before it's kicked, they throw the ball to the actual spot kick taker who can just stay away from it. Didn't do
Agreed.
it. But Sam said he left it as it was. And I was talking to a guy in the airport coming home, and he was saying that he wasn't a Leeds fan, but he was over with them because his friend is related to Forshaw and so when they were standing right beside the dugout. And Liam Cooper was leaning against the dugout, and he asked Liam Cooper who's on pens, and he said Bamford. And he goes, "Is that a smart decision?" And he said it'd be great for his confidence. So you're just thinking, we don't have time for Paddy to get his confidence back. Unfortunately,
No.
we just don't have time for it. It's a any other time of the season, you'd be like, yeah, absolutely, let him take it. It'll help him, But where we are, there was so much pressure on that kick, and you could hear it. There was an audible groan went around the stadium. Do you remember that groan that used to happen when Tyler Roberts would step up to the halfway line and be about to come on the pitch, and you see everyone go, "Oh God, that's this." It was that kind of a groan. You're just like, he's heard that as well. That's not kind of
yeah.
To be fair to the crowd, they sang his name straight afterwards. Like as soon as he was
of
penalty,
course.
everyone was trying to lift him back up again, but the damage was done. He shouldn't have been near the penalty.
No,
Sam
he's
Green was
such
on
a
the pitch as well,
confidence player.
But you had Greenwood, you had Rodrigo, who were decent spot kick takers. There's Harrison there as well who can strike a ball. There was plenty of options to take it, and it was just such a poor penalty as well. It was the perfect height for the goalkeeper. It wasn't in the corner and it wasn't hit with much power. He needed to just go up and smash that. What he needed to do. But
Yeah,
you can see though when Newcastle got their penalty, it was like I said on my live watch along. I was like, Callum Wilson scores this. He's just got the minerals for stuff like that. And some players, like, fair enough. Bamford, it's not like his fault particularly, is it? He can't help the way, like he might be anxious. I don't know, but he shouldn't be taking it because he's a confidence player, like Ollie says. And John Knox is saying in the comments, everybody knew he would miss. Everybody knew that he was going to miss that, which is such a bad sign. So can't the players on the pitch think he doesn't look confident here? But then they look silly if one of them goes, no, I want to take it. And then Bamford's like, no, I want to take it. And then so you can't really go up and say, no, let me take it. But yeah, you just look at other players from other teams when they get penalties against us, you go, you can just tell he's going to score this. He's going to score this. He's going to score this. But when Bamford took it, before I even got it out, I just went, oh, don't let Bamford take it.
Yeah, it was that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've got nothing against him. And like we said before, just to quickly gloss over it, the stuff that people said to me online is ridiculous and stupid, and it's Neanderthal behaviour. But I said he shouldn't take a penalty again. But that's not like hating on him or anything like that. That's just he shouldn't take a penalty. He's not a penalty. He's good at other things, but he's not a penalty taker. So just take him off penalties and let Rodrigo do it. I've been in the stadium a couple of times this season and last season where Rodrigo's got a penalty and he steps up to take it and you go, he's going to score this. And he just buries it. Against Wolves, I saw one. I can't remember what the other one was, but he just steps up and he just buries them and runs to the corner doing that dance, that run that he does. And you just know that that's coming. And in a relegation battle, you need a penalty taker who you think he'll score this.
There's a thing about goals as well. I mean, Callum Wilson scored 17 goals this season. Pat's got 4. Callum Wilson scores 1 and 2 of shots he takes on goal. He scores 1 and 2. So for every second shot he takes, he scores. Paddy's not at that stage. And then you put the confidence into it as well, and it's smarter heads needed to prevail in that moment.
Yeah, no, I think you're both bang on, and like just to finally touch on the whole social media thing with Bamford, I think it's fine to criticise a player for their footballing ability. I was the first one to back McKennie when it all took to him about how his weight and how he's American and things like that. Okay, we don't need any of that. We need to criticise. We can criticise as fans their performance on the pitch, similar to Bamford. Yes, he's not good enough. Yes, he missed the penalty. But when you take it more further than what's happening on the pitch, then you let yourself and you're letting the club and the fans down and everything. So that's what I'll just touch on there. But I think just that, at the end of the day, it's a positive point against Newcastle. I believe it is, and I think it could have been, it could have been 3. It really could have been 3. But, we've just got to focus now on the next game, which is West Ham. Max, I'll come to you first. We lose 2-1 against Man City, first in the league. Third, we get a point. West Ham sit 15th. Why can't we?
0 points. No. The thing is that it's a cliche, but they've got midweek fixtures, haven't they?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at their matches. I've got them up here. So they've got they've gone through, haven't they, against Alkmaar?
No, they've got to play.
That's their second leg
is this week. Is tomorrow night, I think.
Thursday night.
Yes, sorry. So Thursday. Yeah. So they play on Thursday night, their second leg of that one, and they're leading 2-1. So it's a tight game. And then they've got us on the Sunday. And as well, if they go through against Alkmaar. They've got a cup final to prepare for. They'll be resting certain players. They're safe in the table now. So you've got to think that they'll play some youngsters. They'll play some players who don't usually get in the team. And maybe we can get at them a little bit. But we always seem to lose against West Ham, but they never seem to be fantastic.
No.
So the tide's got to turn at some point. Why can't it be this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you as well, Jed. As in, it's make or break for Leeds, isn't it? It's make or break for Leeds. If we don't win it, I think we're down. Would you agree with that?
I think we need 4 points from the next 2 games. So I think as long as we don't lose, it'd be better to take the pressure off the final day and get the win against West Ham, and then you're looking for a point maybe against Spurs, maybe better than the point. Then you go in with a bit of confidence, and you're at home, good crowd, hopefully. I'm struggling with this one because before last night, I was thinking draw against Newcastle, draw against Spurs, beat West Ham, and that's 35 points. I think would be safe. It's still
changed?
on. Oscar last night made some very good points on the stream, and I was listening to him. The more I listened, I went, "Oh God, no!" I feel.
What was he saying? What was he saying?
Just going through all the different teams and all the different permutations, and it could be out of our hands before we even get a chance to have a swing at it. Like, so, we have got to look at we are still in the bottom 3, and we are still relying on at least one of 2 teams to make a mess in the last 2 games for us. We have to better other teams' results, and that's the thing. And I don't trust Wolverhampton Wanderers, So,
No.
and that's the one. Wolves and West Ham are the 2.
That's the one I'm looking at. Wolves, Everton is
Everton,
the
Wolves,
one that worries me.
And Leicester, West Ham are the 2 that I'm looking at going, I don't trust those teams to just go and get the job done. Yeah, especially at the time of the season that it is. The only thing I'm leaning on is Lopetegui is trying to get some grace back with the Wolves fans after a really dodgy period in the middle where they nearly got dragged back down into it again. And I don't think he's the kind of manager that will let his players sit on the beach too early. I think he'll want them to finish the season on a high, send the fans home happy, and get ready for next year on a positive note. That's the hope there. We've got to go out and do a job. I think we can do it against West Ham. Someone's already said it in the chat. We have to break the London hoodoo, and we have to get past that one. If anybody knows West Ham, it's Sam's. A lot of players are still there, from when he was there. We were talking about team sheets last night, but Cooper maybe coming back in for that game, and I think I was very impressed with Rasmus Christensen playing centre back in the last 2 games, and I think he stays there because Mikel Antonio will play up front, and Sam knows what he's like with power and pace, and he'll want someone pacey with him. So I think it's not in their hands. We need someone to do us a favor, and hopefully it's this week. I'd like us to go into the last day of the season being outside the bottom 3 for a change, and then just takes a bit of pressure off. But it's not the worst finish we could have had, to be fair. I mean, West Ham, fingers crossed, as Max has already said, are very distracted. Hopefully going into that game, they've got a European final. They're safe in the table. They rest some players, maybe. Hopefully. I think you're more likely to see that if the game had been at Ellen Road and not in West Ham or not in London. The fact that it's at their home pitch, they might not rest too many. But we'll have to wait and see. They're safe. We just need to continue this. There's been a good bit of momentum. Even with the Man City result being a defeat, there's still momentum coming out of that game. I think the Square Ball described it as one of those games where it's a defeat, but it feels like a win. It's a moral victory to go there and get that result. And I think the positives that have come out of Newcastle, there's a huge amount of positives come out of Newcastle. The fight back, especially, and again, I said it again, Man City and Newcastle, we scored from open play, which means we can.
It's a nice comment there about you 2 being serious football knowledge, and I'm here for the humour, which is nice, which is nice. I'm just making up the numbers. Thank you, mate. There's nearly 250 of you in here. Be sure to subscribe, smash that like button if you want to see more of us 3. I try to get Joe, but he's a busy guy and all that stuff. But keep smashing that like button, guys. And we are reading your comments. I'll talk to you guys. I'll get some comments up at the end, and we can answer a few of them. Max, would you keep the same lineup that drew against Newcastle? Would you make any changes? What are you thinking?
Well, when I was looking at it initially when we were going into that Newcastle game, it was a bit like, hold on, we are playing quite defensively still, but the way we actually played in the end wasn't really that defensively, and we ended up playing, because Robin Koch was playing in midfield, which was a bit unexpected. I was a bit like, oh, this is odd. But we were a little bit more attacking than I thought we were going to be, so maybe I would keep the same lineup. But maybe I would put Rodrigo. The sub that I was calling for during the game was for Rodrigo to go to number 9, central striker, and then Nonto to come on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would prefer to start like that. But I do think he will start with Bamford again because he wants somebody that can hold the ball up a little bit. And everybody, there's like this thing on social media of some people saying, well, Bamford can still hold the ball up and he does certain things for us, and other people going, oh, Bamford holds the ball up. He's supposed to score goals and taking the mick out of that other side. But
That was me.
no, I saw people on Twitter doing it, and I was just thinking, but yeah, Bamford has a job in this team, and the first goal doesn't happen without him getting out there. And although he drifted wide, and his cross probably wouldn't have even gone to Rodrigo's head if it hadn't took a big deflection. But he was there to win headers. I saw in the first half he was good. He was winning headers. He was chesting the ball down. He was bringing other players into play, and that's exactly what you want from him. It's just that we need to make sure that other players around him have got the shooting boots on, because he certainly won't have. So we just need to make sure that other people, and maybe that's the reason for having Rodrigo on the wing as somebody who can come inside, and if he gets a chance to shoot, probably put it in the bottom corner, because he is then the finisher, and Bamford is more being used as a tool to keep the ball. So yeah, I would have thought we'd go for the same team, other than obviously Junior Firpo.
I was about to say, the chat have been saying that Firpo is obviously out. Forgot about that. His season is over, because I think in the end it was a straight red, wasn't it? Was that what people were saying?
It's a straight
yellow and red card.
Yeah, there's a mix-up. Some of the places are saying it was a straight red. Phil Hay clarified it today, or Adam Pope, when clarified, said it was second yellow. Okay. However, it wouldn't have mattered, because it's a red card straight. If it had been a straight red, it's for a professional foul, which is only one game. It's 3 games for violent conduct.
Cool.
So yeah, it's only one game. We should appeal it though. We should make sure we get 3 games.
Yeah.
To be fair, I was actually praising him in the first half. For the first sort of 30 to 40 minutes, I thought he was our best defender. It was like I was going, oh, Firpo's cleared it again. Firpo's got the ball out again. Firpo's done this again. And I was thinking, bloody hell, he's having a blinder here. And then obviously he proves me wrong, and Sod's law, he goes and gets himself sent off for the first time in his Leeds career.
Well, he's always that one step away from doing something a bit stupid. Like, do you know what I mean? I know we saw it on against Newcastle, but it's always like, I was similar with you, going, oh yeah, is this Firpo? Like, every time he does something, you always think that. And then you see, oh, okay, that's Firpo when he dives in, or when he gets the yellow. Obviously, he won the penalty, like was just actually someone's just put in the chat. He won the penalty. That was good. Yeah. I like his overlapping runs. He's a much better attacking left back. And it seems like in Leeds' career, we've struggled, our seasons, we've struggled to get a left back that can actually play left back and not attacking left back. Do you know what I mean? But one player I would chuck in the middle of the park actually would be Adam Forshaw. I know me and Joe love a bit of Adam Forshaw. I think he came on again, and the calmness, and I just think how much I really do rate him. I really do. I would personally see him out for Sam Greenwood. In my eyes, what are your thoughts on that, Joe?
I agree. I like Sam Greenwood. I really do like Sam Greenwood. And he did some nice things as well on Saturday. He had a couple of moments where he got caught in possession, but he wasn't alone with that. There was a couple of players that in the first half got caught on the ball, or taking too long on the ball. But he was very involved in the penalty as well. He made a lovely little cut inside 2 players of Newcastle, so he can do those things. But I think the thing I like about Adam Forshaw the most is I call it connective tissue. Mm-hmm. He just links the play really well everywhere. He's like the center of the spider web. Like, the ball comes into him, it goes somewhere else, comes back to him, goes somewhere else, comes in. He's constantly in the middle of it.
He wants the ball, doesn't he? Some of our players have been guilty of, they see somebody like Matt Rocker get hold of it and they run away from it, and they go, right, let's go and make a run somewhere. And then if Rocker loses the ball, it's like, oh, well, we've got to make recovery runs now. Adam Forshaw's ball hungry. He wants to go and get the ball and, like you say, link up the play. And it doesn't matter if he gets it and gives it back to a centre back. He's keeping things moving and keeping things ticking. And the idea is to get them moving across. And eventually one of them makes a mistake, goes too far, and there's a gap to split the line. And yeah, like you say, the connective tissue is a perfect way to describe it, because he just keeps everything moving, doesn't he? And keeps everything cohesive, which, like you said before, Sam Greenwood had a good first half, I thought, and I was actually praising him. And then he went off at half time and somebody went, "Oh, so much for a good first half." I was like, well, he still played well. But
I think everyone saw that coming though, Max, because where we were sitting, we had a chat about it as well, and we were talking to people around where we were sitting, and the conversation came up, what would you do at half time? And I agreed exactly what you said about, I said, I'd take Bamford out of the firing line now, I'd put Rodrigo in the 9, put Nonto on the wing, I'd take Greenwood out and put Forshaw in. They were the two changes I wanted to see at half time. The other thing about Forshaw as well, for a man that's had the amount of injuries he has, he doesn't have to throw his body on the line. He goes into tackles full on. He doesn't pull out of anything.
That last tackle that he
doesn't
made,
it? It makes you go,
don't do that. We need you for another game. Yeah. But he does it really well. And you said there as well, Max, he helps Leeds retain possession of the ball. And the thing about this is, and especially going to the last two games of the season, they can't score if they don't have the ball. If we keep giving the ball back, then we're giving up opportunities to the opposition. The thing that Forshaw does is he maintains the ball with us constantly. And even if it is going back to the goalkeeper, there was one stage where the ball was cleared, and I think he actually found himself as the last player. He kind of arc and run between the two centre backs, and he got the ball. And he could have gone forward with it, but he didn't. He just thought safer option is go straight back to Robles, and he went bang halfway down the pitch, went straight back to the goalkeeper. Start again, get our shape. Relax, settle down, take the sting out of the game, and he does that really, really well. He helps to command the tempo of the game brilliantly. So it's a shame he's been injured as long as he has in the last couple of years, because I think there's been a really, really good player that we've missed, and I would have him starting. And going off of Allardyce's press conference, I think he said that he wants him in every minute of the remaining games, but he has to manage his minutes because the physio said he can maybe do a half an hour, and even at that, he said. The physio told him he can probably do the last half an hour of the game against Newcastle. Half time he went, I need him in now. I can't wait. I have to take a chance and put him in. And it made a difference. Yeah. So he's important to us. And I think if he can start, he will start against West Ham.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And I'm glad he's finally getting his praises, because I've always seen there's a player in there, and that seems to be that common thing. I think we spoke about it before. As soon as a player gets injured, they're suddenly really bad. I've never really understood that. They're still a very good player. Yes, injury prone is a thing. But no, I would, say a lot of them players. I think a lot of them players now, I think I've been guilty of calling this team the most unlikable squad we've had in years. They don't care, not fit to wear the shirt. Believe me, we've all said it 5 minutes after a game. Yeah, but Bournemouth. Oh, not talk about Bournemouth.
I came out of the game against Bournemouth and I was like, I don't like these players anymore.
No,
I just don't.
But no. But we're starting to see a bit more fight. So I'm seeing people like Rasmus Christensen the last few games. He's come into it playing centre back. You could tell, when he scored, he looked like he bleeds lead. Same with McKennie as well. They're getting more stuck in there, understanding. I think that this is huge. They've messed up and they're now trying to sort something out. And what I'm loving at the end of each game is them group hugs and going around giving their shirts to every fan that's turned up. And if the whole social media thing would have happened, would they have done it? Who knows? But either way, we're seeing a bit more of that family feel back at Leeds again, that team, which we all love. And even if we hated them, we're still watching them each week. But yeah, that's why I want to try and be positive, because I personally, as a fan, am seeing positives, as in I'm starting to like the players again. They're understanding the fight. We've gone to, we played Man City, only lost 2-1. We've drawn against Newcastle, and I'm thinking this West Ham game, like this is a stupid thing to say, but I'm confident. But I was also confident going into the Crystal Palace game, and that was as in I'm never confident. I'm always such pessimist. I always think that pessimist, always the worst.
Leeds fans in general, because of what we've put through for the last God knows how many years.
Exactly. And then I was like that with Palace. We just beat Forest. I thought, Palace quick 3 points, and then we'll continue our season. Wasn't like that at all. It's something like 37 days later. So I saw something on Twitter today, which was like, at half time, we had 32 points, 37 days later, we've got 31 or something like that. And it's like, I don't even know what even happened. It doesn't matter, because that's in the past now. Right. Next little talking point I want to talk about is teams around us. Obviously, Southampton have gone. We touched a little bit on it earlier, but I want to talk Forest, Leicester, and Everton. Fixtures for them are some are easier than others. Obviously, we've got West Ham and Tottenham. I don't really know all of the other ones, but I'm sure you guys are the knowledgeable one. I'm just here for the humour, apparently. So you guys will tell me what's going on. If you could put 3 teams, or if you could say 3 teams, try not to say us. Who do you think are in danger, as in results wise? I'll start with you, Max.
Well, the thing is, the fixtures are kind of like we're the odd ones out, and then we swap over. So we've got a team in the bottom 6 this week, but apart from Everton, all the other bottom teams have got top teams, including like Southampton. Obviously, they've gone down, but they're against Brighton. Forest have got Arsenal, Leicester have got Newcastle, and then there's us and Everton who've got Wolves and West Ham. And then next week we've got the difficult fixture, and this is what worries me. Everton have got Bournemouth at home. Forest have got Palace away. Leicester have got West Ham at home. They've then got their easy fixtures next week, which is the worrying thing. So what we have to do is win this weekend. If we win this weekend, we give ourselves the best chance. But if we don't win this weekend, I think it all comes down to this game. Because if we don't win this weekend, they've all got much easier fixtures than we do next week. And that's absolutely killer.
Yeah, it's worrying. It is worrying.
I think Everton are going to. Everton have got the easiest fixtures out of anybody. I think Everton are going to get out of this, and I think it's then going to drag Forest back in. I think Everton are going to win, maybe one win and a draw, and Forest might lose both, which is our only hope.
I think if we're being realistic, I think bookies favourites, or just if you watch football in general, people are saying Leeds, Leicester, Southampton is what people are thinking. Obviously, the title of the video says otherwise, because we're not getting relegated, guys. Believe me, that will get changed if we do. I will come to you. I will come to you.
It's all right, Ollie. I made a video at the end of the first Bielsa season called "Why Leeds Won't Suffer from Second Season Syndrome."
Oh no! To be fair, I made an awful one with Bielsa. The season we finished 9th, I actually made a video. We were so comfortable. I put why something. It was something like Leeds United to get relegated, with a question mark, and everyone's like, "What are you actually on about?" We were sitting like 11th, but either way, that's the game's the game, people. The game is the game. Joe, I'll come to you again, as in, what is. I don't want to ask right now who's going down. We'll save that to one of the last questions. Trying to be positive here. Can you take some positives out of these last few fixtures from us and from other teams?
The way I'm looking at it, I've the fixtures in front of me, and I've kind of jotted down what I think will happen. I think Forest will get another point out of their last 2, which will put them on 35. I think Everton will get 3 points out of their last 2 games, which will put them on 35 points. I think Leeds will get 4 points from the last 2 games, which will put them on 35 points. And I think Leicester will get nothing in the last 2 games, and they'll finish on 30 points. So you will have Forest, Everton, and Leeds dead level on 35 points each. The worst goal difference in that 3 is Forest, assuming we don't muck up our goal difference.
Everton are only 1 better than us as well,
correct,
in terms of goal difference. So if Everton ship a couple of goals,
screaming at the television the other night from Man City, go one more, just one more,
yes,
go and get a 4th. But I think it will.
Then it goes on goals scored, doesn't it?
It goes on goal scores, and then it goes on head to head. So goal scores, we have 7. We have a better goal scored record, don't we? Do we?
I don't know.
That conceded goals. Oh God,
we scored 46. They've scored 32, I think.
Yeah, so we should be okay on goals scored then as well. So
just staying up.
Positive. We've got a better goal difference, and we've got
unless they score 14 goals in the last couple of games, and then they wouldn't beat us on head to head.
Well, we just need 14 goals in the next 2 games, which is also
that's more realistic.
Yeah. I think my big thing on this has always been the month for our survival was April. That was the month that I had said we have to get 6-7 points in April. If we get 6-7 points out of the 12 that are available in April, we stay up, and that would have put us on 38 points. Now we would be safe. We would be safe. We made it.
That was that. Was it the Palace? No, it was the Leicester Bournemouth back to back.
Palace, Bournemouth, Fulham.
Oh yeah, Fulham. Yeah.
If we get 6-7 points out of those 3 games, which is doable, you're safe, and we didn't.
How many did we get out of them?
None. Of those three, we lost against Fulham, we lost against Bournemouth, and we lost against
Palace.
We lost all three of them. Yeah,
Oh.
we did get 8 points in that month. You got like 2 points that month.
We beat Leicester.
Beat Leicester. Yeah, it's three.
Yeah. No, we didn't. Sorry, we drew against Leicester. Didn't we?
Just 1 point. Yeah.
God, we
So,
are bad actually.
We only just realised 2 games from the end of the season.
I know.
We are bad actually.
I did say if we come into the last 3 games of the season needing points, we're in trouble. And we are in the bottom 3. But the fact that we're not gone, Southampton, and the big one for me is we can start chalking off teams after this week. Let's take the positive stuff. Assuming everything goes to plan this week and we beat West Ham and Leicester, don't pick up a result, Leicester are down. That's them gone. Mathematically, they can't be safe. So that's 2 down. Then it comes down to us, Forest, and everything the last day of the season. You know,
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
No,
I mean, last year it felt a bit more like, last year when it happened, it didn't feel fun, but it felt a bit like, this is
It's
different.
entertaining because we were scoring all those late goals, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
That was the thing about last season. We'd score the late goal and we'd be like, it'd be just unbelievable limbs moments. Gelhardt scoring that one and
I was at the game.
Chipping it up for Strauch at the last, the back post. I think I was there for both of them. It was unbelievable. Brilliant. And then this season, it's been very much just a steady decline, down and down and down. And then finally got to a point where we're better defensively, but we're still conceding 2 goals a game. Yeah. That's how bad the season has been. It was like, we're pretty good defensively now, and we're still conceding 2 goals a game.
Yeah.
Do you know what the problem with this season has been? I worked out last night before we had a chat because I'm going to bring up the Bamford stuff about it's Bamford's fault we're going down. I was like, it's not. It's really not. We've the stat that I found was Leeds have dropped 22 points from winning positions this season. Yeah.
Wow.
22 points from being in a winning position. We've dropped 22 points. That's if Leeds do go down, that's why they go down, because they shut down games and manage games and win them. So
and we also go down because we've conceded the most goals in the league.
Yeah.
Of anyone.
So lazy to blame it on one player, isn't it?
That's exactly the word.
They're not blaming it on one player. Some people are blaming it on Meslier as well, which is also ridiculous. He's made a couple of mistakes this season, a handful.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When keepers make mistakes, they lead to goals. If strikers miss, you just miss the target. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive thing.
No one's counting how many points he's won for us though in games with saves that he's made. No one's counts those points. They only count the ones that we've made mistakes. And
against Liverpool, when we beat Liverpool 2-1, and he was unbelievable in that game, pulling off worldy saves. And it's like
the thing is, sorry, keep going, Max.
I was just going to say that football's such fine margins that, like, if we score that against Newcastle, we get 3 points. We probably could have beaten Leicester. There are other games where we've absolutely dominated and not won. The Arsenal game, we also missed a penalty. I mean, I am accidentally listing all examples where Bamford missed a penalty, but there's been games where we've absolutely dominated and we've thrown it away. Like even Palace, that first half, I said it at the time, was the best first half of football that we played all season, and we were brilliant. And then at half time, we concede, and then just complete and utter capitulation. It's like that's what relegates you. It's not one person or 2 people. It's constantly giving away leads, giving away goals. Just
we don't want to mention it's one player, but we've got a comment here. Bamford the miss against Leicester, the Arsenal penalty, Newcastle penalty. That's about 20% of the total. Obviously, we don't want to blame, but there is that counter argument that if he
6 points,
what about the other 80%?
Exactly, yeah. But there's also the thing of if we'd picked up 6 more points at some point during the season from those games we were winning, we wouldn't be in the position. We'd be 37 points right now. Going, we're out of this. We're not to worry about this. We'd be sitting.
Other teams would be going, Leeds will be on the beach because they're safe.
Correct,
now.
Exactly. Yeah. So
about us.
You can put that all those stats together and you can bring all that up and say, well, he's 20%. It's like, yeah, but there's still opportunities outside of that 20%. And people make mistakes. And the point was made the weekend that he didn't miss the penalty. It was saved. It was saved. Yeah. He hit the target. That's his job, is to hit the target. And if it goes in, great. It's a 50-50 when it's a spot kick, and he's saved it. So players miss spot kicks. Gundogan missed a spot kick against us from Manchester City. He's had an incredible month, but he missed. Manchester City captain, he missed a penalty. People miss penalties, people miss chances. That happens all season round. We are not a top 6 club. We don't have the players who are expected to convert 100% of their chances. We are a bottom 4 side right now. Even if we stay up, we're still bottom 4. And we were last year. So that's consistently a bottom 4 side, which tells you that that's the level of players we have in our squad. They're bottom 4, and they will miss chances because they're not the caliber you need to be successful in this league. And the big issue, the big reason that has caused all of this is poor recruitment. It's just, we're still relying, and this is not a slight against any of these players that I'm going to mention, but the fact that we're in 2023, we're in our 3rd season in the Premier League, and we are still relying on Adam Forshaw, Liam Cooper, Luke Ayling, Patrick Bamford to get us out of trouble is an indictment against the recruitment model that the club have put in place. That should have been upgraded 2 years ago. It should have been upgraded last year. Those players were never upgraded. And then we didn't bring in enough depth that we needed. We have the most unbalanced squad in the Premier League. We bought players for managers that we probably shouldn't have instead of buying players for positions we need them for. That's the real reason. So before anyone puts the finger and blame of any individual player, they don't pick the team. They don't put themselves in the team. They just turn up to do their job and they're told by the manager, you're playing this week. Okay, I'll go out and play. If they miss, they miss. But that's not necessarily their fault. That's just the level of player that they are in the team that they're in. And the club should have done a better job.
The perfect example is when you look at Aston Villa. They got promoted the season before us. I'm just looking through their squad now. I think there is only maybe, like in this last game they played against Spurs, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 players that they had in the Championship left in their entire squad and bench. And you look at you just look like they've recruited from the Championship as well. So they brought Ollie Watkins in, they brought Emi Buendia in when teams got relegated, and it was very calculated moves to bring in certain players. And yes, they've not been fantastic that entire time. But when you actually look throughout the team now, they've got a spine of a team where you think, well, they're 8th. They've moved on, and they only got promoted 1 season before us, didn't they? If I remember rightly, I think they went up in the playoffs the year before we went up.
Bear in mind, we were ahead of them at halfway mark in the season. We were ahead of them in the table, and they're 27 points ahead of us now. Michael Pollard in the chat has made 2 really good points on this as well. There's another mistake that's been made by Leeds around the management stuff as well. And what he said earlier on, he said it was a comment before that, but basically what he said is managers holding players accountable for performances. That if someone's played badly, are consistently playing badly, they should be taken out of the team and replaced by somebody else. And that is how it should be done. But we haven't. And if you look at even under Javi, who I liked Javi at the start, and unfortunately went the way it did. But if you look at Javi Garcia's lineups, he pretty much picked the exact same team every single week after the 3rd game he won. Then all of a sudden it was the same team every single week. It was like, well, I've only got 2 central midfielders, so I have to play these 2. And then you look at Sam Allardyce coming in, I don't like the look of this midfield. So Robin Koch, who's a centre-back, is going to play in the 6. And Sam Greenwood, who didn't play at all under Javi, is going to come in and play midfield alongside of him. Do something different. And I think Michael is 100% correct on that if a player plays badly and is having a bad run, you take him out of the team and you replace him with somebody else. That should be what they should be. Yeah, exactly that point. They should be dropped, not throttled. It's coach, not kill. I'm a trainer by trade, and that's our thing. Is coach, don't kill. It's take them out, work on them, put them back in after a bit, but take them out of firing line. And that's another mistake that Leeds have made this season is around, not holding players accountable. The one thing I really, really liked about Sam Allardyce stuff this weekend was the comment that he made publicly about, I don't like when people don't listen to me. They'll hear about it this week. You know, and he's already said that Pascal got it in the neck from him last week over diving in against Man City, and Vobra is going to get it in the neck off him this week. But you can't concede 2 penalties in the game and hope to win it. They're all mistakes, they're all individual errors, and that again comes down to, well, if they're making them consistently, then they shouldn't be in the team anymore. You should replace them with better players. If you don't have better players, it goes back to the original point then of, well, we didn't recruit well enough. So it's
bang on. And I mean, you're both making good points. I'm just here to look pretty. But I do want to touch on it's a weird argument because it's a if me auntie had bull should be my uncle type of thing. But if Big Sam was here, say a few weeks before, and things like that, would things change? Max, I'll come to you first. Would things be different? Would we be more, better off right now if Sam Allardyce, let's say he had 8 games instead of 4. Let's say that. What are your thoughts, Max?
Well, based off what we've seen so far, then yeah, I think so, because I think he's done better already what Javi was trying to do, what he was trying to achieve. Now, we haven't got the same results that Javi did, because Javi did get us some points on the board. But when it all started to go wrong, obviously, it went terribly. But Big Sam is playing the football that Gracia kind of wanted to do. He said he wanted to come in and make things simple first, and then maybe implement a bit of his philosophy later on. And Sam Allardyce has come in and done that within a lot shorter time scale. But like you say, it's hard to say whether it would have helped or not. But I think it would have done. But the issue is, and I said this when I did a video about his tactics, about it just relies on us having a clinical striker, and it relies on us having strong defenders. The whole thing comes full circle back to the recruitment, but Joe covered that off. But with the team that we actually have, with the fact that we're relying on a couple of good chances a game, and we're relying on finishing those chances with a striker like Bamford, who, again, I'm not trying to hate on him, but it's the record shows that he's not a clinical finisher. And we're expecting him to be a clinical finisher for this system to work, really. Now, we have scored a couple of goals, but those have all been from other players. And some of them completely jammy. Yeah. Rasmus whacking one off the side of Stewie Griffin's head into the bottom corner. Unbelievably lucky, but like they all count, don't they? But yeah, so it relies on us being clinical, and I don't think we're gonna be, but we've got. If Rodrigo plays, then we've got a chance against West Ham.
Okay.
But yeah, I do think if he'd have come in earlier, then maybe we would have done a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll quickly ask you, Joe, as well. Do you think it's something we should, I mean, it's one of them. It's a if we would have scored this, if that would have happened, if something would have happened. But I'll just say, if he had 8 games, do you think we would be in a better position right now?
If you take on the sample size that we have, probably yeah. But again, the same with Javi. Javi won 3 of his first 4 games. And at that point, I was saying, give him a contract for the rest of the season. If we go down, keep him. He's obviously doing the right thing. Even if we go down, it's not his fault. Give him the contract. And then the next 4 games, it went to hell. Sam's the same. He's got 2 games under his belt, So it's a very small sample size. But and I agree with Max on this, he seems to have done the stuff that Javi wanted to do while still having some form of an attacking threat during a game, at least creating chances. Where with Javi, it was backs to the wall, backs to the wall, backs to the wall. Hope we get a counter-attack. With Sam, it's backs to the wall, backs to the wall. Win the ball, go. Get forward, break. So there's a little bit more to it than what Javi was. And I don't think he's as nice a person as Javi. I think Javi's quiet, respectful demeanor, especially with this dressing room. There's back to that thing about not liking the players this season. There's been something in that dressing room this year that wasn't there under Bielsa, this leadership council that Jesse put together, I honestly believe is probably one of the worst things that Leeds did this season. It gave players too much of a voice instead of the manager, or too many opinions. And I've seen it from coaching myself. When the dressing room have lots of opinions, the message gets lost. You spend your time answering questions and trying to talk people down rather than focusing on what you need to focus on. So
it's reinventing the wheel, isn't it? Because that's what a captain's for. Players are supposed to come together, give their feedback to the captain, and the captain goes and quietly knocks on the gaffer's door and has a word with him.
Exactly,
Whereas this leadership council is trying to go, all right, well, let's have 5 players do that. And like you say, the message just gets convoluted and it doesn't work out well. I don't know why he tried to do that. There's
still
a captain
there,
for
which
a
is
reason.
a problem, though. I don't know if Sam's he didn't mention it in his press conference that he was talking to the leadership group, and I was like, why does that still exist like that? I mean, in that you've got Rodrigo, Bamford, Cooper, Ayling, and Forshaw, and somebody else is in that group.
Probably Dallas, isn't it?
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas.
And they're all of them very good, and they're all good leaders in their own right, and they've all worn the armband. But for me, the club already has that structure. You've got a captain, a club captain usually, and a vice captain. So if Cooper's the club captain and Ayling is the vice captain, he wears the armband on the pitch. That's your council. That's it. That's all you need. Just need anybody else outside of that. And as Ollie said, as Max said, they go and knock on the manager's door when they need to have a word. Also, that's what your coaches are there for as well. Your coaches are supposed to bridge the gap between the players and the manager. The manager can take a step away and be withdrawn from the squad. The coaches are in around them. They can hear what the players are thinking and saying, and they're the ones that can go to the manager and say, listen, it's a bit of grumbling about this. There's a couple of lads, you might want to address this next week, but it's done the right way. And then it's the manager coming to the squad with the solution rather than the players coming to the manager with a solution, and it's, for me, that's been an issue as well this season. And I think the sooner that's gone, the better. But it hasn't helped things. But I don't think Sam is of the mindset that after the initial conversations he had with all the players around, which is a good idea, go and sit down with all of them and go, what's gone well? What do you think has gone bad? What would you have done differently? Where do you think the weaknesses are? Where do you think our strengths are? Get it from the squad, put it all together. You'll figure pretty quickly who's talking crap and who's actually talking sense and who's covering their backsides and who's not. And then you stop it. Then it's done. So then from then on, and again, as I said, in the press conference I've seen from Sam, I don't think he'll take that. And I know Robbie Keane's not going to take that kind of stuff either as well. So, and you've got Carl Robinson, who's known for being a hard ass in the dressing room. So you've got three strong characters there who players won't talk up to, so that's also a positive.
No, yeah. I mean, again, both bang on there with your points. I won't keep you both for too much longer. I want to quickly ask, I want the chat. You can put in some questions. There's nearly 340 of you in it, which is absolutely mental. Go subscribe to me, subscribe to these two as well. I mean, they're absolutely carrying this live stream right now. I just feel like I'm just going, but yeah, subscribe and also like and all that. Get your questions in. We'll try and answer as many as possible, but we obviously won't get round to all of them. Leeds related. We don't want to know what Max is doing after this type of thing. But I just quickly want to ask you both a couple of questions. You can make it short or however long you want. Where will we finish? And because of the title of the video, why won't we go down? I'll start with you, Jer. Where will we finish if you're being, optimistic, and why?
17th. If I'm being optimistic.
Nice.
I've already made my opinion on this really clear, but I really think, but with 17th, why? Yeah. Because I think our goal difference is actually going to help us, even though we've done our best job to massacre it in the last month. Yeah. But I think our goal difference will definitely be a factor in that. And also, I think, when you asked me this earlier on, I wrote a few points down to go, why do I think we'll stay up? And I had to really have a think about it. I think we have better players than Forest and Everton. However, I don't think they've turned up yet this season. They've turned up in fits and starts. And I think if Sam can get them to turn up in the last two games, we have enough in there to get results in the final two games. And that's the main reason. And I think Nottingham Forest don't know what they are. They have so many players. They rotate so often. Some weeks they're great, some weeks they're terrible. And I think somebody said it last night as well. They've relied so heavily on Brennan Johnson, Gibbs White. I can't remember pronounce your man's name. Amayobi or Amayomi.
No, I don't know.
I can't pronounce his name, the striker. They've just basically gone, get the ball to them three and they'll do something for us. And when they can't get it to those three, they don't produce. No. So, and then Everton, I think they're really scrapping. But it really looks like they're scrapping. I think the Brighton game might lead them into a false sense of security, think we're better than we are, because I think Brighton just didn't show up that day. So I think they might get caught. So that's why I think is. But I still think Everton will stay up, and I think Nottingham Forest will go down.
Okay, perfect. Max, I'll come with you. Similar question. Where we finish? Why won't we go down? Even if you don't believe it, try and make something up so the video makes sense. Okay.
I think it's going to be 17th as well. I agree with a lot of stuff that Jer said, and I think Everton, I think Forest are going to get a bit complacent with their position that they're in, and I think Everton are definitely going to get a win in the last couple. Forest maybe not. I think Everton are maybe going to beat Wolves and be safe. So I think we're going to stay up on 34 points. Forest are going to lose their last two, and we're going to win one and stay up on goal difference. That's as positive as there can be, really. Just the whole way this season's gone, it's not ended well, has it? And if we do stay up, let's bloody learn our lesson.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people are saying, if we do stay up, is it papering over cracks a tiny bit? You know, these same players will go, God, we're all right, actually, aren't we? We're Premier League quality. We've just stayed up. But yeah,
Really
exactly. Not. So, you know, I think it's an argument to say, would you rather go down, get rid of all that? I don't think anyone wants to be playing championship football again. But like we've kind of said throughout this whole live, you know, we need new players. We need better recruitment. We need a more balanced squad. And that's what we need next season. And like you said, it's 2 seasons now in a row that this has happened. We can't make it a third. We need to just be, you know, a consistent Premier League side. That's what we need. But yeah, I'm similar to you guys. I think we'll finish 17th. Why won't we go down? Because we're gonna get 6 points. We're gonna get 6 points. I don't know where this optimistic viewers come from. If you go back through all my other videos, I think I've dealt with like, oh my God, we might be going down. So I've just gone, okay, we're going to win all of them.
You know, the 7 stages of grief, it doesn't come back to denial. It starts with denial. It doesn't come back to it.
I mean, I've gone through so many different stages. I don't even know where I'm at, mate. I'm all over the place. But I'll try and ask a few. I did see a question about Robin Koch that we want to argue. I'll keep you guys for 5 more minutes if that's mate. Okay.
I think my camera's on its way to overheating. So if it says temperature too high and it goes black, I am still here and I can still hear you. Just so you know.
No worries at all. No worries. Yeah, I'll keep you for 5 more minutes. Quick question. You could be a yes or no, and maybe a little why. Do you think Koch is a better midfielder than a centre back? I've struggled to think he's a very good footballer this season at all. But would you both say? I'll ask you, Max, first quickly before you overheat. What's your thoughts on that?
No, I don't think so. I think that he can sometimes do an okay job in there just because he's physical, and sometimes you need a bit of physicality. I think that's what he was put in there for. Mm-hmm. But there was a moment where a ball came to him in the box and he was like the furthest man forward, and it just pinballed off his trampoline feet. And it's like, well, I actually said that this has happened before. Robin Koch has played in midfield before, and he's ended up in this situation in the box and took a horrendous heavy touch. And it just doesn't work having a centre back in there. I said if you're going to put a centre back in there, put Strauch in there. I think he's a better holding midfielder than what Robin Koch is. At least he's played there a little bit more, maybe understands the role a little bit more. But I think Robin Koch is capable of being a good defender. He just needs somebody. He's not a good defender if he's got a weak partner. If he's got a good partner like Max Verber, that's when he's had his best games. So I'd be tempted to say that he's the sort of bench player. If we stay up, he should be a bench player for next season, and we should get another right centre back in. But yeah, the way Rasmus has been playing, maybe Robin Koch should even play the last couple of games.
No, I agree, Joe.
I think it depends on who he's beside. I think he's at times this season when he's played beside Verber, he's looked really good. But when Verber hasn't been there, he's looked awful. You know, he's looked really, really uncomfortable. But then Verber seems to have that effect on players around him. Verber on the left-hand side of him has played better when he's been in the team as well. So it could just be a really good communicator in Verber. I thought he was good, Koch. I thought he was good in midfield. He definitely does the job that Allardyce wants him to do in there. Break it up, give someone else the ball. 5-yard pass. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't get involved in too much stuff. Don't go forward.
Don't get in the box again.
Don't get in the box. Yeah. So yeah, and I can understand when we don't have the ball, he can also drop in between the 2 centre backs and make it back 3 if they need to as well, to make us more solid from crosses and set pieces. So yeah, I understand the logic behind it. But I think next season, if we do stay up, it needs to be an overhaul.
Yeah, I completely agree.
That's an overhaul anyway.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm going to ask one more question. It's not specifically what someone has asked, but it's kind of been a similar question going around. Obviously, the under-21s got promoted last night. Yeah. Very good for them. Congratulations to them. A lot of talent there that hopefully we will be seeing next season.
There we go.
Oh, he's too hot. He's too hot. Is there anything? I mean,
I think it's still just Max himself. It just says inside that he's internally too hot. What's wrong with his camera?
I think Max has actually just gone off for his tea. But anyway,
I've already had it, mate.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, you can still hear us. So I just want to quickly ask before we do end this all: is it too late? Is it too risky to chuck in a youngster, Rutter, Joseph and things like that? Joe, I'll quickly start with you. Do you think it's too risky?
It is. I'm not a believer in this. Give someone a chance.
No.
comments that I see. I'll give this guy a chance. It's based on training. It's based on the work they put in during the week. It's based on what the manager said. They were good enough at this stage, based around the squad that's there. They would have been in the team already. So it's a big gamble. I don't think someone will even be ready for it next season. I think if we stay in the Premier League, I would like to see the bulk of them go on loan to championship clubs like Joffy has done, like Creswell has done, and let them grow up and make mistakes there and come back better players.
We need to flood the championship with with
Chelsea
all of our youth players.
Chelsea do, but look at the benefit Creswell's had. Like, if you look at Charlie Cress, had a really tough first half of the season at Millwall. It didn't go well for him. He scored a couple of goals, but defensively he was getting criticised for a lot of mistakes, and he was in and out of the Millwall team. Second half of the season, he had an unbelievable season. He's been an absolute rock. He's got those mistakes out of his system at a level where it's not going to affect us. And then he's been able to learn and develop at that level and then come back into Leeds next season, hopefully stronger. Same with Joffrey. Joffrey will get a huge amount from what he's doing right now with Sunderland. Same with Cody Drama. So that's the point of this. We have this thing with Leeds when it's not going well, play the kids. And it's never, ever, ever worked.
No, and that's the thing with Nonto recently. I think, everyone's at a standing ovation when he's about to come on, but you're putting pressure on the kid. I think it shows again that lack of recruitment, that the fact that they've gone, let's quickly chuck it on the youngsters to save the day. And that's not what they're needed for. He's so young. He should be on when we're winning a game, or if, there he is. He's back. And it should be a thing where, we're chucking these players on an end of a game. Nonto, I know he is ready to play, but we shouldn't be relying on him necessarily. I think there's a lot of pressure on him. And honestly, when he came on, not that he could do much, but I don't think he done much at all. But there's nothing, that's not on him. I'm not going, Nonto's an awful player. I just think it's a lot of pressure. We think he's coming on scoring a hat-trick, then walking off. But Max, I'll quickly come to you, and then I'll let you guys all go. Would you chuck any of these players in, or are you similar feeling with Jer?
Yeah, I feel the same, really. But I do think that we've got players on the bench that, like Somerville, they're still youngsters, but they are our backup options. Whilst we don't have Sinistera and players like that, they are our backup options. Some of these young players, and like you say, bringing on Nonto, we're kind of expecting the world from him. He needs a low pressure situation to flourish. A young player like that in the middle of the season when we're playing Liverpool, and he does that amazing pass, and then Somerville scores, and that's when Somerville scored 4 and 4 as well. It's that low pressure situations for these youngsters. When you throw them in this game and you go on then, do something. The only player who's ever actually managed to do that in recent times is Gelhardt in the end of last season, and a lot of that comes down to a bit of luck, a bit of right place, right time, which is obviously skill. But yeah, we have to try and go with experience in a relegation battle, but we do have players on the bench like Somerville, like Nonto, like Aronson, but we can't be expecting them to win us games. You have to, otherwise they'd be starting. I think is the point. If you have to make let's take fatigue out of it completely. If you have to make a substitution, your original game plan hasn't worked.
Correct.
Or they've changed something that's made your original game plan not work. So we should be starting with our most experienced players, I feel, in a relegation battle, because it's too much pressure to put on youngsters. But if we need to change something, and if something needs to change, that's the same thing twice, then we should then bring on these players. But yeah, maybe look to the players that we've already got on the bench, which they're all like 19, 20, 21, 22, rather than bypassing them and going to the youth academy.
There's a comment there as well about if they're good enough, they're old enough. And the sooner you put them in, the quicker you find out. And what I'd say about that is the managers are watching these players every single day in training against the players in that squad. They don't just go in and run around cones. They play matches against each other. So the manager can see what the level is versus the players that he's got on the pitch. You don't have to throw them in a competitive game to see if they're good enough. You know in training if they're good enough. You know if training if they can handle the pressure. You know if their attitude is correct. You know if the mentality is right. And you know if the ability on the ball is there. That's all stuff you see in training. That's why Willie Gnonto is trusted to go into the team, because he's gone into training and gone, actually, this kid's ready. This kid's really, really good. Somerville the same. He's had an extra year doing 21s. He had his breakthrough year last year, and this year he's had a lot more time to come and get used to the level. Next year, Somerville will be better again, as will Joffy, as will Stroke, as will all these younger players. They'll get better again next year. So it's not about putting them into a competitive game to see if they're good enough. You shouldn't do that. That's a huge gamble, especially at this stage of the season. And I 100% agree with Max. You should be relying on experience and then looking for these players to be an impact if they can. Someone else made the point about Aronson being the same as that. And I completely agree. Brendan Aronson should never been brought in as a starter. He's 22 years of age. He should have been brought in to come in off the bench, get used to the Premier League the right way and develop over the course of a season. So, yeah.
I mean, smashed it. Bang on. Bang on. Whoa. An hour. That hour's gone very quick. But I will let you guys go. You know, there's more entertaining stuff on. Milan derby's going on. Luton versus Sunderland. But guys, if you did enjoy the lives with these two absolute legends, well, Legend and Max, we will do it again if you guys want to see that. Obviously, there's 300 of you in here. If you do want to see that, how I see it is subscribe and smash a like button on this video. We're 20 subscribers away from 10.5, so subscribe right now and that will show me that you guys want to see this again. Also subscribe to Max at Leeds Lately. Max, what have you got coming up for the last few weeks of the season? What you got coming up?
Well, I'm away this weekend and for the next week, so I'll be doing a reaction in nice. for the West Ham game rather than a live watch along or anything, and then there'll certainly be a post mortem at some point. Regardless of whether we stay up or whether we go down, I will be picking apart exactly what went wrong this season. Just a bit like what we've talked about today, but going into fine detail on where I think everything has gone wrong this season. Because even if we stay up, it has gone wrong, and we can't forget that.
Yeah, no, exactly that.
Especially when it's impossible for us to get relegated, according to our owner.
Yeah. Hey, we're trying to be positive. Read the video title. But yeah, go over and subscribe to Leeds Lately. Cracking channel, like I've said before. James Alcott of Leeds United. He knows his stats. He knows his facts. And his name's Max. What's going on your channel? You know, you got the news every day.
The daily Leeds news for this week. I haven't said this to anybody, so I'll say it right now. I swore I'd never do one of these. I don't do match reactions because I also don't want to step into what you guys do. That's your lane. I don't want to encroach. Yeah, however, if we beat West Ham, I'll do. If we beat West Ham, I'll do a watch along for the last game of the season. People get to see me being absolutely nuts because I did it on Saturday. Anyone who got to see me on Saturday would have seen me standing up in the East stand, screaming at the referee on my own, so I can lose it. But yeah, the news for the rest of the week. I'm trying to do a couple of other bits and pieces as well, but I'm struggling getting the stuff that I want to get done. But then I have to decide whether I want to take a week off or 2 weeks off and see what happens at the end of the season. But I will be doing something similar as well, of a season breakdown of, the things that went well in the season, and then a different video on everything that went wrong in the season. One will be much shorter than the other one.
Yeah, very true, very true. But guys, like I said, if you want to see more lives on the channel, it's the first one I've done. I mean, I don't know how it's taken me so long to actually get a few of you on and do it. So yeah, I think that deserves a round of applause. And also smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, we're 20 subscribers off 10.5k. Let's hit that tonight. And yeah, without further ado, I've been Ollie Ward. You guys have been excellent, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheerio.